Hey everybody, so it's back to winter time. I wanted to do something that I wanted to say a few words. I don't think it's completely necessary, but, there are people out there that probably need to hear it. So, this is what we got from the soap experiment, and it's very good, actually. Um, so we got 9 little train cars, which they're probably twice the size of your standard bar of soap, at least in the thickness area. And then I have these 3 little discs that I just put the excess in the bottom of a Gatorade bottle that I cut off, and then just I used fishing line to actually slice them sideways to make them reasonable size. Otherwise, it'd be like that big. So yeah, um, but don't do as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. Sodium hydroxide is a very strong basic chemical, which it means it's on the opposite spectrum of an acidic thing. So like nitric acid or citric acid, it's the opposite, like baking soda and sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, uh, milk, basic solutions. But this is pretty much like, this goes as far as basic can basically get. It's not. It's a big myth, like that's gonna like burn through your skin. Um, I would imagine that if you put it on your skin and then left it there for like 2 or 3 hours, you'd probably have a problem. But as long as you're not, ridiculously unattentive, you should be completely fine. Uh, it's Wear gloves, wear goggles. If you get in your eyes, it can cause temporary to permanent blindness. So I don't wear goggles. I don't wear gloves. I'm fine. But it's better to be safe than sorry, especially if you're unfamiliar with the chemicals, which, I guess I'm pretty unfamiliar with the chemicals, considering. But overall, I have enough of a chemistry background that I'm not doing anything explosive or dangerous enough that I really have to concern myself. But for people that are just messing around and doing this stuff for fun, definitely, at least goggles. Wash your hands afterwards. When I was messing with the soap, before it hardened up completely, the residue that was forming on top of it, which I don't exactly know what it was, but it was like something liquid was separating out. It was on my hands, and I didn't wash my hands right away because I was like, you know what, it's whatever. And after about 45 minutes, I have various cuts on my knuckles and stuff from different things I do, projects and hiking and whatnot. And it actually did start to burn, but I mean we're talking like 45 minutes to an hour in an open cut. So, as I said, gloves, goggles. But overall, this is our yield, and this is going to probably be the intro to the video. So, thanks for watching, guys. You'll be upcoming here in the next couple of minutes. You will see the process and the recipe in which I used to make this later on. Hey everybody, so we're back in the dungeon. Actually, can't really say that anymore because it's actually kind of nice in here. But we are going to do what you've seen or could look up a million YouTubers doing, and that's going to be making soap. So I decided to do this because I'm tired of complaining on camera, and I'm tired of playing games on camera. So I wanted to actually do something, and I thought something to get back into the mindset would be doing something really simple, in which this isn't really simple, but it's simple enough. There's a million recipes, and it all kind of depends. There's not really a right or wrong way of doing this. Like, people used to do it with animal fat and wood ash. So, I mean, there's better ways. There's tried and true methods. And I looked up this recipe right there, and I modified it to that for our case. So, first thing we got to do to make this happen is we have to purify the bacon grease. So I have a bunch of bacon grease melted down here. I have this weird tub thing I found with some regular water in it. And when I pour the bacon fat into this, it will drop out all the solids and anything that's super impure that I can get out. And then the bacon fat will solidify on top. And then I can just scoop it out and dump out the water. So I estimate most of this. So my estimation is there's 36 ounces of bacon fat, 6 ounces of coconut oil, 9 ounces of distilled water, 5 ounces of lye, I approximated about 10 drops of food coloring, ground coffee for an exfoliant, which that's what it says. It says it's a thing. So I made 2 cups of coffee this morning and figured we'll do it just for the fun of it, and peppermint oil. And I figured about 1/4 of an ounce will do this batch. Now, I went to Goodwill, and I found this cool little mold here. And they're it's a silicone mold, and they're like little trains. So they do like gingerbread trains and stuff. And I thought it'd be really cool for different projects, all kinds of projects, and I figured that this will be one of them. So we're going to take this to close to having a trace, but not quite, so we can pour it and it smooths out on its own. It'll take a little longer to cure that way, but it's going to be easier to mold. So that's the plan. So let's see. I want to see if I can make it so you guys can see me fell on camera. Let's see if I can dump hot grease all over myself. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, you guys ready to see me dump hot grease on myself? Here it goes. So we're gonna turn this like this. Grab this like this. We gotta pour rather quickly so that it doesn't dribble down onto the floor. But we want to make sure we don't melt anything either, because this is like 200 degrees. Alright. That went surprisingly well. So as you can see, it's a little cloudy, but you can see that it's separating into the layers. Fat is less dense than water, or oils or lard usually float on top of the water. That's why penguins and oil spills and all that nonsense. But so you can see maybe that stuff's like dripping out of this. That's like leftover pieces of bacon, burnt stuff and whatnot. And eventually this will be relatively pure, just bacon fat. At the very least, better than what it was. So I'm going to give this about, I don't know, 2 hours. So I already kind of cleaned up the oil. I got a little impatient. So instead of letting it solidify and peeling it off the top, I poured it off, like decanting it, so to speak. And I got most of it, but when I started getting larger portions of water carrying over, I decided to stop. So then I let the water boil off for the last hour or so, and I prepared my hydrogen peroxide solution. I prepared my lye solution, my sodium hydroxide. And interesting fact, sodium hydroxide, when added to water, is exothermic, so it emits a large amount of heat. So, which I knew that, but like memory issues, you know. So after I noticed it starting to melt the bottle, I quickly got a basin of cold water and put it inside there. Now it's not all dissolved, and that's fine because I think I have an excess, which is also fine because sodium hydroxide is a very powerful basic solution, so it's on the opposite side of the spectrum on a pH scale as an acid, and it's pretty strong. But if you overdo it, you can cause problems in the soap that can, like, you could burn your skin and stuff, but my measurement should be close enough that with the coffee grinds, in theory, it'll equal out, because coffee grinds are mildly acidic. So over the course of all the stirring, hopefully, if there's anything extra, it will even out. So we're gonna turn this off, and we're gonna let that cool down a little bit, because I don't want any splashing when I add the cold liquid. And we're gonna stir for all eternity. And when it leaves a mild trace, I mean when it just looks like it's thinking about starting to leave a trace, I'm going to add the additives, stir for another 5 or 10 minutes, and then we're going to mold it. So that's the plan. Let me pull up the recipe real quick and make sure I got the temperature right. I think it's 200 degrees, but I would rather be safe than sorry. Good thing I checked. It's 120 degrees. So let's put this on warm. The lowest setting is warm and 200 degrees. So the beauty of using a deep fryer, you know. One fear I have is that this deep fryer, I am 90% sure. I can't say 100% because I didn't check, but I'm 90% sure that the metal used to make it is aluminum. If there's any nicks or scratches in it, there's a chance that the sodium hydroxide can react with it. But with this such a low concentration and being added to all this other stuff it's going to be reacting with, it might not be that much of an issue for 1 or 2 times. But if there's even a scratch in the Teflon, or if this reacts with Teflon, I didn't really check that, there could be a bit of an issue with the soap. But this is my channel, and my channel does things, you know, haphazardly, so sally forth. First things first, gonna add this. So this bottle is 25.4 ounces. So I added about half full with sodium hydroxide and distilled water. So it's approximately 12 to 13 ounces. You needed 5 to 6 ounces of sodium hydroxide. I think I chose 5, and then 8 to 9 ounces of distilled water, depending on the amount of fat you have. So, real nice and slow like. Don't want any splashing. Splashing is bad. Now the process in which the lye reacts with the fat is called soapification. I'm just kidding. It's called saponification, but smart people should really call it soapification because you're making soap and it just makes more sense. I don't understand why they make things such long, complicated words when you could literally name them what they do, and that would be that. So I got this fancy little rubber spatula-like thing, which is I'm going to primarily use to stir, and I'm going to primarily use to fill the molds with, because it shouldn't react. The only things that should react, with my knowledge, to the soap, or with the sodium hydroxide, would be things like aluminum or zinc, different metals. I think stainless steel is pretty safe. I imagine Teflon's going to be pretty safe, but I'm not an expert. I don't know that. So, you know, if something happens that might be dicey, I'll, you know, throw it out my window. You know, it's cool. You know, like, my sodium hydroxide, when mixed with water and aluminum foil, takes quite a while to react. So, with this being reacting with the fat, doing its saponification process, it shouldn't want to react with the aluminum and stuff as quickly, in theory, but we'll kind of see. So I'm gonna have to stir this for all eternity. So when we get closer to trace, I will chime you guys back in, unless you. So we're at a stage of this being about, I would say, cream of wheat, thin pudding, but it's significantly thickened up, as you can see. Like, I've been scraping down the sides. I've been stirring it for probably about a half an hour, probably 2 YouTube videos worth. But this is the stage in which I want to add my junk. So we got coffee grinds, and some peppermint oil. I hope you guys can see. Not really. That looks pretty good. So, I think this thing does by like drops. Yeah, so we're just gonna kind of wing it. I figured probably about 1/4 of an ounce. This bottle's 1 ounce, so I think that should be good. And then we're just probably gonna stir this good for a little bit longer, probably another 30 minutes or so. I'm not gonna add food coloring because I think the little espresso macchiato kind of color scheme I got going on here is gonna be good enough. And if I add green to it, it's gonna look like not good. So I think we're gonna keep it like this, and I think this is gonna be a nice brown color. Probably isn't the most appetizing, but adding green to this is green, right? Yeah. Adding green to this is not going to help matters. So let me stir this for another 20 minutes or so, and then we're going to mold it up, I think. It actually thickened up a lot. So it's more like, I'd say probably a toothpaste consistency. Maybe like a wall spackle kind of consistency. So I'm gonna try to mold it up now and see what happens. So our mold. Did I mention I got this for $2.99 at a Goodwill? Like, this thing probably costs like 12 or 13 bucks. Kind of happy about that little purchase. I don't usually go to thrift stores, not too often, but there's one right by the store I go to, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let's check it out. So I don't have a very good idea on how to do this. So let me get you guys a little more into focus here. I don't have like a really good plan on how to do this, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna kind of spoon it in using this here spatula. So we're gonna give it one last good stir, and let's see here. I really have doubts about this because it's kind of almost like cottage cheese. And I don't remember seeing anybody else's like this. So, but then again, I use coconut oil and pig fat, so you don't really, like I said, all the recipes could be different. And coffee grinds. I've never seen anybody use coffee grinds. So, I mean, the end of this video won't be out for like a month, because patience is a virtue with this kind of hobby. So I'm going to give it probably a full month to cure. I'll probably demold it, and I might take a video of that in about a week. But I think I'm going to let it sit for a full month before I actually try to use it or guinea pig somebody else into using it. Well, I'll probably use it. I mean, in retrospect, there's nothing in here that's harmful. So, oh, good news. It did not eat through my deep fryer. So, it's good news. It is getting thicker very quickly. I'm going to try to get all of these filled up. But now, do you know what? I think I'm gonna end. I think I'm not gonna do the last one, and use this to kind of top off the rest. So we're just gonna kind of slap it on there. Try not to make too much of a mess, and kind of just like try to smooth it all into all these little. Oh, that's probably not gonna work out so great. Oh no, it's on my finger. I'm dying. I'm dying. But okay, so it's not going to be the prettiest execution here, but you get the idea. So I'm going to finish playing with this mud off camera. Hey everybody. So this turned out a little better than I thought it was going to. And it's been approximately 28 hours. I figured I'm going to try to demold one of them and see how it actually worked out. We'll do like a little lather test or whatever later on. I want to give it a little bit more time to cure, but for now, let's see if we can get one of these out of here without it shattering or anything. One-handed, baby. One-handed. So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's anywhere near perfect, but it did pick up a good bit of detail. One of the problems I think it is because the coffee I used had water in it, and I think as the sodium hydroxide saponified the different fats and stuff, I think it the water was slowly getting leached out, and you can see how it has some like a glistening, like watery look. But I did test a little piece of the like this here, like this stuff that kind of just, you know, exists. I did test the piece. It works pretty good. I mean, let's put it this way. For this being my first attempt, this is like almost perfect. Like, this is better than what this is twice as good as what I expected, easily.